Welcome to another riveting episode of Turn Up, Beardown. We are here. It's week 13, and the Bears look to win against the Detroit Lions. We're joined again by our co-star, Matt Jansen. How's it going?
Hey, glad to be on again. Just looking, I guess I'm trying not to look into the future. I'm trying to just take it one week at a time, but it's hard for me to not start to make my off-season plans.
Right. Are you trying to buy tickets to Tampa for the Bears Super Bowl victory?
Yeah. I'll be sitting on top of a palm tree.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. Well, maybe we could have a watch party of the Super Bowl with Bears players because they're probably not going to be playing in it. So
No, they will not be in it.
right,
I can guarantee it.
right. So anyway, let's go ahead and get going with this wonderful week. Look at those dominant Bears players. We could sure use more of that. I guess we still have Khalil Mack, but we could use some.
Dude, bring back Devin Hester just for 1 week. Can we just have Devin Hester to return kicks with Patterson or instead of Patterson?
Well,
be awesome.
Yeah, but punts, it would be nice to have Devin Hester, especially right now. Or it would be nice to have Briggs as a linebacker as well, or Quan Smith and Briggs. That'd be nice. So, or even Walter Payton, because we don't have a line that blocks.
Who's
So
31 in that picture? Is that? Oh, that's okay. Never mind. I thought that was like a bear that turned into a cardinal. 47. That's not Tillman, is it? No, that's not Tillman. I don't think that is. No, he's 41 or 42, I think.
I'm not sure.
All right, by the way, that guy's a legend.
Yeah. So, what do you have as far as a trivia question this week?
Oh, okay. So, Sky, I'm gonna stump you this week, buddy.
All right.
you are the know it all of Bears factoids, and so.
Yeah, I love trivia, and I love knowing random stuff about the Chicago Bears for some reason.
Okay, so since the 1966 first Super Bowl, how many times have the Lions made the playoffs to date? I'll give you a hint. It's somewhere between 1 and 10.
Okay. I'm about to bequeath my knowledge, but this is a little bit difficult because it's not a Bear specific question. All right, I know they've lost to the Cowboys and the Saints in the last couple of years, so there's two. And then in I want to say 91 they played in the NFC Championship game. So that's at least 3. And then
dig deep, Scott. Dig deep.
I'm going to go with 4 because I think they might have gone in the late 90s. Maybe with Eric Kramer at quarterback. So I'm going to say 4.
Yeah. Rodney Pete. No, hey, you're close. They had 3. They have 3. They've been in the playoffs 3 times since during the Super Bowl
What were
era.
the years?
Yeah. Right. 3 times. So, as bad as it is for us right now, as much as we're complaining, it could be worse, right? So
that's true.
That's pretty good though, man. I'll give you some props, dude. I didn't think you'd be anywhere near that.
Yeah. Dang it. I guess I know a lot about the people in our division. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right?
Dude, what a large dearth of knowledge, It's just ridiculous, man.
That really helps me with my master's work that I do, and also just teaching students to prosper in this wonderful world we live in. So, okay, here I got a trivia question for you too.
Okay.
But it's gonna take me a second to.
He's thinking right now, viewers. I can just tell you right now, he's thinking very deeply about what he wants to ask.
Thinking very, very deeply.
Somebody needs to send him another Mountain Dew, I think.
Yeah, maybe I don't have anything, or maybe I'll just have to do some editing for this part. Okay, no, I got it. I do.
Wait, are you trying to ask me how many games the Bears have won in the last month? Is that why you had nothing to say?
That's probably true. So here it is. couple years ago. It actually features Devin Hester. The Lions coach was Rod Marinelli, who would eventually be the Bears defensive coordinator.
Hmm.
Now, Fox made a bit out of this, but Marinelli said he wouldn't kick it to Devin Hester. What did he say he was going to do instead of kick it to Devin Hester?
Ooh. So this is before this was before he eventually came over to be our D coordinator. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? Because
this year was
he was with us.
2007. It was actually 2007, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
So the dramatic fall after the Super Bowl year.
Yeah. So what would he rather do? Hmm.
Instead of to kick it to Devin Hester, he said he was going to do something else.
I mean,
Fox made a bit on it too. Like they played it up and they filmed the whole situation. It was really funny. I know this because I was going through some old Bears footage because the last few weeks have been pretty brutal, and so this popped up.
I have a couple stabs at it. Can I say?
Yeah.
I mean, can I say he'd rather kiss his sister? Maybe. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Scotty. This is a tough one. All right, this is a tough one. During that time,
You weren't
2007 season.
you
Let's
weren't
see
a
where I'd
devoted
been.
you weren't a devoted fan, were you?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I was definitely that would have been my second year down at Oakton, down in Chicago.
Yeah.
Um,
All right,
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we're wasting a lot of airtime. So I need you to tell
I'll
me. I
tell
need you
you.
to fill me in right now.
Okay, he
What do you?
said instead of kick it to Devin Hester, he's going to kick it into Lake Michigan. And so Fox took a pre-recorded bit and they filmed some guy from Fox, and you don't see the person, but they threw the ball up in the air and they just landed in Lake Michigan. And so every time that they went to a break, they basically played that because they weren't kicking it to Devin Hester. Except for one time, the guy made a mistake. Hester caught it and he returned it like 30 or 40 yards. He didn't score a touchdown, but still. And Marinelli was chewing out his punter. It was hilarious. But I'll never forget that game because actually we ended up losing like 13-7 simply because at that time Rex Grossman was benched for like Brian Greasy, who also couldn't get it done. I
Oh
think
yeah,
he threw like
Grease Mike.
four interceptions that game.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, man, what a trivia! Um,
Yeah, that was a
what a
stumper. That was an
trivia!
all-time
Yeah.
stumper.
So, all right,
And you know what?
let's get into
Hey,
week 13. I mean, 13's unlucky, which is just what we need. We need something to counteract what we already have is
guys,
very unluck.
definitely need a
So,
slump buster. We need to send a couple slump busters, Scott. If you got any,
yeah.
send them that way to that locker room because they're in dire need of it. But
Yeah, check the comment section. So you know what's something that I have to say though. Look at the Lions logo. So after the year that they went like defeated, where they lost every game, back in
mhm.
'08, or maybe it was the year they were defeated. I don't
That was Steve
recall.
Marinelli, wasn't it? Steve Marinelli was head coach of that, weren't they? That
No,
year,
Rod Marinelli. It was
or
Rod
was it?
Marinelli.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Steve Marinucci. That's what it was.
yeah,
Was
he
it
was
Steve
their
Marinucci?
coach at one point too. So
Okay.
anyway, a little bit about their logo. They added some little like stuff to the mane and the like little white streaks
Mhm.
there, and they made him look more violent. And I thought that was hilarious when they did that because they had just gone 0-16.
Yeah,
They're like, we're restoring the roar.
yeah. Go
So
through a little identity crisis there.
yeah, if not for the 2 wins that I hope to get every year from the Lions, sometimes I kind of want to pull for them because I do want to see like the bad teams have some success at some point. But like you said, at least we're not Lions fans. Although after
I'm a huge Barry Sanders fan, though,
yeah,
Scotty. So
yeah,
honestly, I would have really have liked to see them win it when he was there with that franchise. I just think it would have been good for football, even if you're not a Lions fan. Just he was such a joy to watch. And so that's probably who I grew up idolizing the most. That's probably my favorite football player of all time.
that's
Uh,
pretty big
no,
stuff.
not Curtis Enos, not Curtis Conway, not
Mm,
you know all the 97 quarterbacks that we've had since I've been alive. But,
Yeah.
you know,
We should
they're,
have we're gonna have to, viewers out there, we're gonna have to bring you this episode. We're gonna do an episode where we just have the name of the Bears quarterback and a picture of him. We can tell you like our 3-word descriptions for each guy. It'll take 30 minutes because we've had 30 in the last 20
yeah.
years. For a while there, I could actually, it was like remembering the presidents of the United States. I could actually name them all like in order. It was hilarious.
You have a
So
beautiful mind, Scott.
yeah, again, I'm really using that extra. They say you only use 10% of your brain. I use the other 90% for Bears stuff. So all right, so we got the Lions this week. How are you feeling about this game?
Well, I mean, like we said with the Vikings, we've had some recent success. I don't think the Lions have beat us very often. I would say in the last decade at our place. We'll have Raji definitely stat check that,
Oh
but
yeah,
we've had success against them because, again, I mean, outside of Matt Stafford, there's been so many changing places and changing pieces in that organization over the last decade. I mean, he's the last man standing for the most part. Hasn't been a lot of great teams around him. I feel bad, honestly. I feel bad sometimes that someone like
right.
Matt Stafford could very well be in the Hall of Fame category if he had, for once, a good defense. And other than, he had Megatron, and we could say that they could have made more out of that. But, like, just to have a total team around him, I don't think they're more of like that small market ish team. They're not going to go out and, they don't normally make huge splashes as far as free agents, right? I mean,
Right.
look at what Patricia did. He basically brought in a lot of Patriots, and
Yeah.
I mean, I feel good because, again, they just fired their coach, but also, like we were talking, they have nothing to lose, so they're going to come in, and obviously they're going to play inspired football. And if Matt Stafford has time, I mean, it could be a game that could slip away from us. I mean, and we've talked about how we've won games, but we could have easily lost games against them. So it's especially even going back to week 1, if Swift catches that ball, like you said, and so many other things could have went not our way for us to not win that game. So
Yeah.
I
It
feel
really,
good, but again, I'm not betting the house because, again, I feel like games we should have won this year, we haven't been able to perform up to our level. So
for sure. That first line game really set the trajectory for our season because that really propelled us to that 5-1 record so that we could be here 5, 6 weeks later at 5-6 and
mm,
in the same exact spot. I remember last year on Thanksgiving we went to the Lions. We were at 5-6 at that time too, and I started putting it together in my brain that we were going to win out and we were going to make the playoffs. And this year though, we don't have to play the Chiefs, and we might not have to play the Packers when the Packers need a victory. So anything's a possibility, but I will not hold my breath this time.
yeah.
But back to Stafford, I think we both kind of talked that we would take him on our team, and if you think about it honestly, if Matthew Stafford would have been the quarterback, maybe even instead of a Jay Cutler, that could have led to potentially a lot more Bears division championships or who knows what else.
Matt
Because
Stafford can win a Super Bowl if
yeah,
if he's in the right
I
system and he's got the right
actually
pieces around him in a defense. Matt Stafford can make enough plays to win a Super Bowl,
I
even
feel
even
that
in.
way too.
So I
Hmm.
agree with you there.
Yeah,
It could have been a different trajectory.
it's because he played in the SEC as well, but he played for a team in Georgia that actually wins games. Where Jay Cutler played for the University of Vanderbilt, and
Commodores. Yeah,
they highly academic, good at baseball, but not necessarily a
very good.
football powerhouse. So here's the key players we've listed. We talked a little bit about Stafford. Definitely, if the Lions are going to have success, he's going to play well. He knows how to play the Bears too. I have to say he usually plays pretty well against us lately. And another guy who plays well against the Bears historically has been Adrian Peterson. He has given up some
True.
fumbles in the past, but I'll never forget when he
Yep.
was a rookie. He ran for, it's called like the Adrian Peterson game. He ran for I think 270 some yards against us and returned a kick that led to their game-winning field goal or something. And then T.J. Hawkinson, because the Bears just aren't the best at covering tight ends. And then on our side of things, I will say Trubisky has done one thing very well, and that is he wins against the Lions, and he usually plays decent, even if it's only for one quarter, and that quarter is the fourth quarter of opening week. And another guy who's key to that success has been Anthony Miller. And then I think it's just time for Khalil Mack to make some big plays to help this team get a win and get things going in the right direction. So those are my takeaways for the top players this week, and what I'm looking for on both sides or for both teams really, because yeah, that's just what we're looking at. So
Yep. Well, and like I said, I think I just got the report because me and Adam Schefter are really close.
right,
Got his update that obviously, hopefully, Allen Robinson and Mooney are going to play this week, and we need everybody. I mean, we need with the 31st offense. We're going to need about everybody to play, and that's going to help us have some success. And Anthony Miller has had some of his better games against the Lions,
oh yeah,
and I just think. I think neither team have anything to lose, and I think again we're in the playoff consideration, and they are as well. They're just a little bit farther down the line, but I mean, I do think that when you bring a new coach in, there is a little bit of a shock value, and I do think that there's going to be a little bit of I don't want to say sloppiness, but I just want to say that there's just an unfamiliarity, to maybe a new person in charge, and again, like we've talked about all year, can we get out to a lead? I mean, I know we've historically got out into leads against the Lions over the last few years, but I would just like to see our offense again. We still have a head coach, and we still have pretty much the same pieces. Like, we're at home, we have nothing to lose. Mitch Trubisky's pretty much playing for his next contract and his next team. Let's go. I mean, you have nothing. I mean, David
yeah.
Montgomery showed signs of the running back that we would hope of the future, and continue to feed him the rock. I mean, if we can't get the running game going, then again, you put too much pressure on Mitch Trubisky. And so, can we start running the ball at least early and often? Just give Montgomery the carries. Hopefully, open some things up. And again, the Lions have one of the worst secondaries in the league. So I would
Yeah.
like to think we can exploit some matchups in the passing game as well.
And you've kind of already gone over some of the keys, but for the Bears, just can we sustain drives? And
Yeah,
it just feels like every time I'm watching a Bears offensive series, I'm waiting for that one holding penalty that's going to drive us backwards and stop the drive, or there's going to be one missed throw, dropped pass, something simple happens, and it's like, well, we don't know how to play offense anymore. Um, so yeah, but we need to get some points on the board. And this is another team that we fell way behind, 23-6 at one point against the Lions. We were that far behind, and it kind of set the trend for the whole season of we're just not going to score very many points until the fourth quarter. But can Nagy find some key matchups this time? Especially a team you've already played, you should know what to look for. And hopefully they find that and they make it work. And if Hicks plays, I'm hoping he plays, but we got to find a way to defend the run because the Packers ran all over us. And like we talked about, after Hicks got hurt against the Vikings, then Dalvin Cook started making a lot more plays. And
yeah.
and so with that being said, when I'm looking at the Lions, I'm thinking they should continue to give it to Peterson or Swift or whoever else is running. If the Lions get a turnover or two, then it's going to be really tough for the Bears because, like we saw last week, things get out of hand quickly. And lastly, the Lions just got to protect Stafford. If they give him time, he'll find some of these guys. Now, I do have to say that Kenny Galladay is not playing, which
That
I'm
hurts. That hurts
glad
for him. That's
it
big.
hurts them. I'm glad that he's not playing. He is on one of my fantasy teams, so I'm also kind of bummed at the same time. But Marvin Jones can still make some plays. Other than that, I'm not really sure even they have Danny Amendola still. Does that sound right?
I believe they still do, but
Yeah,
he's one hit away from being in the blue
right.
tent. So.
Right. So those are some of the things I'll be looking for and the keys to the games. But it should be an interesting one. I really do think it will be close. Like we all know that the last couple games have come down to the last few plays. Actually, there's Jalen Johnson tipping one away.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Eddie Jackson picked one off to end it on
Yep.
Thanksgiving. A couple years ago,
Yep.
Kyle Fuller picked one off. And so I'm gonna be nervous because it's gonna come down to the wire probably. So what do you think of these keys? What are you looking for as far as this
Yeah.
goes?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's been. It's been down on the wire, hasn't it? I mean, except in some of our losses, but I mean, I'm looking at the fact that uh, I did see an uptick in Cole Kmet's snaps last week, and I would like to continue that trend. Because again, he's our tight end of the future, and why not get him that experience? Why not get him some of those, get some good tape on, and literally, I mean, just get his feet wet in this offense, or just kind of in the NFL. I think you use Jimmy Graham in a red zone third down type of situation. You can even line him up with Kmet because he's a pass catcher. And I really think, again, we talked about when Trubisky goes in the empty sets where he's got no running back and it's just him back there in shotgun. He's had some success. Granted, I know some of it was in garbage time, against Green Bay. But I'd like to see them continue to use that. If A-Rob's playing, get him going, man. I mean, whether he's with us or not next year, he's our best offensive weapon. He's got 71 catches, which is eighth in the NFL. He's got 829 yards. He's got 5 touchdowns. He's the third most targeted receiver in the NFL. And so, I mean, just get him going. Again, I mean, he's our best offensive weapon. He's our best chess piece. The Lions have given up the first highest percentage of receptions for first down. So that means on third downs, they've given up the most percentage of first downs via catches for first downs. Okay, so receptions for first downs. So I mean, they're league worst in that category. So that helps us because obviously we're not a great passing offense, but if you're playing one of the worst passing defenses on third down, I mean, you'd like to think that those numbers would help us moving forward. And like I said, I mean, we have one of the worst rushing offenses in the league. I mean, it's the worst rushing offense in the league. But I do think that some of that momentum from last week with David Montgomery, I know 56 of it was on the first play, but he ran for 103 and 11 carries, had nine yards per rush. Just try to get him going. He is talented. I think he's super underrated. If you look at the broad scope of the whole NFL, people aren't talking about him. And no, he doesn't have the gaudy stats, and he's not, he's not a physical specimen. But the guy can make people miss, whether it's in the passing game or in the running game. Yards after contact. The guy's a bowling ball, and he's got some juice. He's got some wiggle, man. And so I think that it will only help Mitch in the passing offense if we can run the ball. If we can, again, we're one-dimensional, and we're going to put too much on Trubisky's shoulders. And so even with a bad secondary, I don't think that we need to rely on Mitch that much. If our offense can stay balanced, I think that is when Mitch is at its best. I think that's when Nagy's at his best, when we are balanced offensively. So I would really like to see us get off to a fast start and obviously run the ball with some chunk plays. And then by all means, I do want to take the shots. But Mitch cannot throw in a double and triple coverage. Again, we cannot afford that. He doesn't need to make those throws. If that's not there, bro, tuck it and run. I'm fine with that. I think everybody in Chicago would be fine with you. If the deep shot is not there, you got triple coverage or even double. Man, let's make something out of nothing. I mean, I'd rather take a 4-yard gain than an interception. So, and then on the defensive end, we have to create turnovers. Matt Stafford is still nursing that sore thumb, or I think it's a torn ligament. So, I mean, again, if you speed up that internal clock and you make him uncomfortable with the fact that he has, kind of a nagging injury that he's playing through, I do think that will help. And again, I think we've done great in the past of getting to him and creating some turnovers and keeping the score low and kind of keeping him in that offense at bay. The fact that Kenny Galladay is not playing, that's a huge loss for them. And I think that we can roll coverage towards Marvin Jones' side and kind of take him away. And let them either play with Hawkinson or some of the other complementary pieces that they have. But Marvin Jones is a beast, man. This guy could go off and score 3 touchdowns. Honestly,
Right, right.
he's got. I mean, for a number two, he's really really good. So
Yeah, probably better than any of our
I
number
just think
twos.
from an X's and O standpoint, if you don't have Galladay, then that's a huge sigh of relief for Pagano and his league worst blitzing percentage. But anyways, we won't get into that.
Yeah,
So I like our chances with Galladay out, and if we can run the ball.
me too. So I guess we're favored by 3, as I've seen. But I'm just gonna stick with 17-14. I know that's low scoring, but for an offense that doesn't average that many points, about 17, I think we should get to 17. I think this is the game we should get up in the 20s. Um, but again, I'm just going to go with the safe bet here. If our defense plays well enough, we hold the lines to a couple touchdowns, and we can take this one and start heading to see if we can make the playoffs or not. But just to get back to 500, maybe the Cardinals lose tomorrow to the Rams, and we're sitting there. The Vikings are probably going to beat the Jaguars, so we'll have a bunch of teams tied at 6-6 with 4 to go. And I just I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic here that maybe the
Yeah,
Bears can
I love it.
put some wins together against some teams that are all struggling this year, and then hopefully beat the Packers to end it. Um, I think it'll take 10 wins to actually make it, so that means we basically have to win out, which would be crazy. But
Right.
again, anything is a possibility. Trubisky gets on
Based
a
on that
roll.
schedule, it's not real. It's not like ridiculous to
It's
say
yeah,
that based on that. How we finished the season.
right.
I'm
It's
gonna
not.
go. I'm gonna go 24-10. I think David Montgomery scores twice. I think we can not necessarily he has a career day, but I think we can kind of get him going. I think he scores twice, and I think we get to Stafford. I think we create 3 turnovers. With the other one going back to the house, I think we get a pick six or a fumble six tomorrow. So, I'm with you on the optimistic train. Uh, Bears Nation needs fans like you, Scott, because I think a lot of people are just done and they're just obviously upset. And the way we started kind of set us up for even more frustration to
Yeah.
how we've been playing and how we're finishing. But
Well, we knew it was coming, but a win is a win, and as we were winning those games, I kept thinking, I know people are saying we're not any good, and we might not be good, but if you get to 5-1, you should be able to make the playoffs some way, somehow, unless you lose 5 straight, and then that becomes a little bit too much to handle. But hey, my computer's actually running low on battery, so
so
we've been just passionately sharing our love for this team and trying to will them to victory. I think again we should win tomorrow, and we'll have more words to say next week, and we'll have to come out with that Bears quarterback special. Can't wait to talk about my boy Craig Krenzel
oh man,
or Henry Burris, or
yeah,
was that
Cade
a guy?
McDown,
Oh man, they were just all
yeah,
so bad. Like some guys that only played one game in the NFL and it was for the Bears. So,
yeah.
all right, we'll see you later, Bears Nation. Don't forget to turn up and bear down. Have a great week. Go Bears.